Can I start by welcoming our audience to the launch of the Windrush Justice Clinic? We're delighted to have you here. We've been really pleased with the number of people. We're well over 150 plus. I'm sure there's been a lot more this evening, but we're delighted to welcome you all and very, very pleased and grateful for the support. For those of you who have not met me already, I'm Gifty Adila and I'll be hosting the launch today. A little bit about me. I started life as a barrister, then became a solicitor and corporate director, working in 3 local authorities. And now in retirement, I work as a mediator and an author. I've been involved in the Windrush issue for some years and been part of the group that has created the Windrush Justice Clinic, the reason why we're here today. So that's just a little bit of overview as to who I am and while I'm the person hosting today. Before I go in to say a little bit more for tonight, just to set down a few ground rules, please. If everyone can be muted, please, including our panelists, so that as and when a panel member is invited to speak, they can turn their microphone on. But until then, if we can all be muted, we'll really appreciate it. Thank you. It would be wonderful if everyone can have their camera on as well. We are recording the webinar today for the benefit of those who can't make the event, so it'll be available to them. So if cameras are on, that would really help. I know it's the norm that people post questions on the chat, but for tonight, we have a Q&A session later on in the evening. We have a Q&A part on the screen for you to post any questions. And when we get to the Q&A sessions, we will pick up your questions. So kindly put any questions that arise as our speakers do their presentation into that box. And I promise you, we'll do our utmost to answer all your questions. Therefore, we will have no show of hands because we wouldn't be picking that up as we work through. So I hope that helps to at least tell you a bit about the format for tonight. I am delighted to present to you a number of speakers who have been involved in creating Windrush Justice Clinic, supporting it, or have been a client. Especially to welcome Terence Griffiths and Glenda Caesar. Glenda, I think I've seen some of your wonderful questions at 1 or 2 events I've been, so to extend a warm welcome to you and also to Terence, who's a student at University of Westminster. So we welcome you on board. The Windrush scandal, as we all know, came about following the government's hostile environment policy. This policy regrettably adversely affected countless number of British Commonwealth citizens whose British citizenship was no longer recognized and instead were treated as illegal immigrants. They lost so much, including their livelihood, in some cases even their liberty. A group of us concerned about getting justice for those affected came together to set up the Windrush Justice Clinic. The advisors at the clinics are at the 3 universities that you will hear about later on, which, and they will help claimants navigate their way through 18 pages of application form and a very detailed guidance, including the need for extensive evidence to back up their claim. So I would like to thank all those who have made this possible for us to come together to establish the clinic and to be able to provide free advice and support to those who really, really needed it, because they have suffered needlessly, and they are still struggling. So if you will bear with me, I would like to really highlight all those who have played a significant part in getting the clinics established. And I start with Patricia Hamzahi of the Black Culture Archives, and Fezan Ahmed of Jigsaw House Society. Grateful to have Patrick Vernon, OBE, Windrush campaigner with us, who, as you all know him very well. He's been campaigning over many years on Windrush. Again, I mentioned Anna Steiner and Sarah Chandler of the University of Westminster, who will provide one of the clinics. Sally Gill of University of Greenwich, Catherine Evans of London South Bank University, all of who will run the clinics for us. And the law centers, I would like to acknowledge and thank Annie Campbell Viswanathan and Holly Stowe of North Kensington Law Centre, and Sally Koza of Southwark Law Centre, who will be offering specialist legal advice and also supporting the calculation of very detailed complex compensation. I acknowledge and thank Janet Campbell and Claudia Phillips of the Claudia Jones organization based in Hackney, who will be our backbone for offering outreach work to inform the community of the support available. And finally, our critical allies with their sound advice and support, I acknowledge and thank Barrister Miranda Grail and Housing Solicitor Pamela Rehobotham for their excellent guidance and input. So this is just a brief welcome explanation of what we're and who we all are and how much work has gone into this. Without much ado, I'll go straight into our speakers because that's what you joined us to hear more about, more detailed about the Windrush Justice Clinic and the contributions that everybody's bringing to the table. I'm very, very pleased to introduce someone who really needs no introduction whatsoever, our keynote speaker, Patrick Vernon, OBE, Windrush campaigner, cultural historian, and social commentator who petitioned Parliament on the Windrush scandal. Patrick, you're very welcome, and I hand over to you, and we look forward to hearing from you over the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. It's really fantastic that we've got lots of people online supporting the launch of this clinic. And I just want to thank the whole team who've been involved in putting together the plans and the development and rollout of the clinic. It's a kind of real partnership of grassroots organisations like Claudia Jones organisation, one of the longest running black organisations in North London, Hackney. You've got the free law centres, you've got the universities. I want to call out, name check Sally Koza. Sally, me and Sally used to work together back in the day, since in the Vice Bureau days. I used to be a manager of the Windrush CAB, and she was a manager of the Battersea CAB, and we did lots of great stuff together over the years as well. I want to kind of acknowledge Glenda Caesar. We've been campaigning together with Glenda, and especially the last time when we got together properly, that was in the summer when we went to number 10, where the late Paulette Wilson, who basically Anthony Bryant presented the petition around making sure the government implemented the lessons learned review. But I want to also give a big acknowledgement to this. I think Miranda's involved, and I've known Miranda for many years as as a former councillor in Waltham Forest, and now a barrister, which I'm really pleased that what she's done as well. But I particularly want to give a big thanks to Gifty. I've known Gifty for a number of years. I was a councillor in Hackney for 8 years. She was the most senior black person working in Hackney Council. Very responsible job, democratic services, and everything connected with law. And we worked together on a whole range of things. But when she left the Hackney Council, we've kept in contact over the last few years. And when I put together my petition demanding for amnesty for the Windrush generation, I contacted Gifty for her legal advice regarding wording and clarity and her experience on immigration. And that, I have to say publicly, thank you for that, because that made a difference. Nearly 200,000 people signed that petition. And one of the reasons why people signed that petition is all about access to justice. And that's why we're here tonight. I went to university, by the way, I studied law. You wouldn't think I was a lawyer, I studied law. I did law at Manchester and then Warwick, and I did my final. So to me, even though I've never practiced law, law has been as part of all my campaigns and all the things that I do, even for stuff to do with history and heritage. There's always a legal basis about demanding education, Black history in the national curriculum. That is a right. And this is really important around the whole Windrush scandal. The bit I want to focus on tonight, because we've got limited time, and we've got some really important other speakers, is about access to justice. Just that bit I want to talk about. Who can remember the paper chase back in the day? Rumpole Bailey. For those people who were born at a certain time period, we were told all the time that law was neutral, law was there for everyone, and that's why a lot of people, particularly people of colour, went into the legal profession on that basis. I can remember meeting the likes of Rudin Narayan back in the day, one of the most flamboyant barristers you could ever meet, and he could drink and mean rum at the same time and still do perfect work in court. There was a whole network in the 70s and 80s of lawyers, activists. There were lots of community relations councils that had provide advice. If you can remember back to 1981 Immigration Act, there were lots of organisations that helped, the Windrush generation and other communities and other constituents who were forced to pay to naturalise. Now we know that was incorrect advice, the way because they were British in the first place. So but there was a whole energy, there was legal aid, there's whole things happening. So 30 years on, we've come to a situation where access to justice does not really exist like it used to. It's really sad that we have to volunteer our time and energy to provide legal advice and compensation advice and immigration advice to the Windrush generation who have paid taxes 10 times over, so they can access a compensation scheme which still doesn't really meet their needs, to regularise their status in Britain because of the hostile environment policy, when that status should be given automatically. It's just really sad indictment of our legal system, the way that we fund advice provision, the way that we don't have legal aid, and the way that the government has not given the access that the Windrush generation and other Commonwealth citizens affected by the hostile environment deserve. When I got involved in a scandal a couple of years ago, one of the things, after doing my petition, I realised that access to justice was the next big issue. I worked very closely with JCWI to launch the Windrush Justice Fund. We raised about £45,000, not a lot of money you might think, but actually we funded about nearly 8 or 9 organisations around the country, small amounts of money, grants, so they could do the things which this legal Windrush Justice organisation is doing. The Black Culture Archives was the first organisation in the country to set up clinics around the Windrush scandal, working closely with Jacqueline McKenzie and the law firm and a whole bunch of lawyers pro bono who gave advice at the BCA, with the support of Matthew Ryder, who was then Deputy Mayor for London at the time. And in many ways, that has inspired others to do the same thing around the country, in Nottingham, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Preston, and of course in different parts of London as well. And all the people that are involved, and the Windrush, I think it's the Windrush National Organisation, they call themselves now, which is a network of organisations. They launched themselves on Thursday as a network, and the individual campaigners, activists, lawyers, social workers, counsellors who have come together, very similar to what we're doing now. And my message just really is that I've been asked to be an ambassador. I'll be helping to fundraise money as well for that, because they need to have resources to make sure that we can deliver the service. But also we have to make sure that the government understands that if they are serious about righting the wrongs, which I don't think they don't really appreciate the concept of rights and the wrongs. So when the Home Secretary is righting the wrongs, if she'd learned some black history, she would find that right and the wrongs came from the 60s, from the civil rights and black power movement, and it was about restorative justice. So I think one of the key things our job is to do is to remind the government, if you want to meet the needs of the Windrush generation and other Commonwealth citizens affected by hostile environment, Windrush scandal, it's about restorative justice. Our job is to give the best quality advice in a timely fashion, to advocate, to represent, to make sure that the Windrush generation deserves what they need. Proper compensation, proper advice and regularising their status. And also there'll be lots of organisations who will still be involved in campaigning around issues around deportation flights as well. It's really sad that after the Lessons Learnt review, which Wendy Williams did a good job in producing a report, she's had to go on record last week to say that the government are not serious about implementing the recommendations. And we've also found that they're going to review that. We want the review of the hostile environment policy till 2022. What does that mean? That has a big implication in terms of the work that we're undertaking right now in giving advice. Confidence links to access to justice. If someone from the Windrush generation don't feel confident in coming forward to sort out their status or to get compensation because they know that something might happen to them, it has a limitation. That's why the outreach work is really important. A trusted, independent advice, which people feel confident that we are looking out for their needs and their wants, and we'll do the best that we can with the limited resources available. So I just want to commend everyone, the team, which I'll be supporting, and also the people online. I know there's lots of people around the country, and we need to have similar clinics around the country. I'm from Wolverhampton. I know in Wolverhampton they have the Wolverhampton Advice Immigration Service that's been doing work, but also it's a message to them that you have to make sure that that other organisations are also providing that services around access to justice. Without access to justice, there's no justice. If there's no justice, there's no peace. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Yes, excellent time management and food for thought in terms of the ideas that you've left us with and the concerns remaining and what we all need to do to support, those who have been affected. That's why we're all here today, and hopefully a lot more people will join us to make sure that righting the wrongs and giving the appropriate support will be available. So thank you so much for restating those important principles and what we all need to be going forward to do. I'm sure there'll be some questions later. And I do know that you're double booked tonight and that you cannot stay with us to the end. We really appreciate that you gave this launch time to be here. But if we don't see you later, hopefully I'm sure the audience will understand that you've got another significant event tonight. But thank you very much for that important opening. So I'm going to invite our next speaker, Janet Campbell. Again, Janet I've known for a few years of being associated with the Claudia Jones organization. Janet Campbell is the chair of the Claudia Jones organization. They're very much involved with supporting families in the community and further afield. They do quite important work with young people. I know certainly my children have enjoyed their summer schools in the past where they bring children together, and they've got the elderly and other families, and I'm sure Janet will say a little bit more. But again, we're very delighted and very privileged to have Claudia Jones as part of the Windrush Justice, because they are going to be really our spokespeople, going out there to bang the drums, to tell those who have been affected that they can come forward for support. So Janet, thank you for being here tonight, and I hand over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Janet Campbell, the chair of the Claudia Jones organization. I would just like to echo the appreciation that's been given to everyone here this evening, the audience and all our partners who have given their time to be part of what I think is an innovative approach to providing legal services. Most of the community, a lot of the community, once they hear about legal advice, they're intimidated. And we did think about the best way that we could reach and create access to the best support possible, so that we're able to assist Windrush victims and their family so that they receive the compensation that they deserve. Many of you will know of the Claudia Jones organization. As Gifty and Patrick have said, we are a women and families charity. We provide services primarily for the African Caribbean community, but actually we don't exclude anyone that comes to us that is in need. And often we support other communities because of the stigma within their own communities, they will come to us. We're based in Hackney, and we provide services in the surrounding boroughs. And we've been doing this for the past 38 years. We currently provide complex family support, counseling, group therapeutic interventions. We provide violence against women and girls support, and cultural activities, and learning and development in its broadest and narrowest sense. And this is actually right across the age group from pregnancy to 100. And our eldest member was 104 years old this year, and she's going strong. So it's a testimony to some of the work that we do. I want to say the Windrush scandal had a devastating impact on many of the lives of the people that we know and we work with. And personally, someone that I worked with lost their job, their child who has a disability couldn't get support, even though the school provided all the information. Her job had to let her go. They provided all the information that the government needed, but she was classified as an illegal immigrant. So a number of us at Claudia Jones have personal experiences of the effect of this hostile environment. You know, being denied job opportunities, barred from health services, refused welfare benefits, detained and deported. These are not just words, because we see the impact on those things in people's lives and the family life. And we feel so strongly about it. That's why this partnership has formed, it's come together. Everyone in this partnership is doing it voluntarily. No one's being paid to do this, but it is so important. It's such an important issue to us. So Claudia Jones, what we will do, we're leading on the outreach into the community with the support. We're starting with the support of volunteers. So if you are interested in volunteering, at the end of my talk, I will give you our email address. So what the teams are going to do, we're going to have an outreach team and a hand-holding team. So we're going to go out to raise awareness, engage with the community, networks, Caribbean organizations, and organizations that our community access. The team will encourage and support people to take another look if they have received compensation. You know, the claims are usually, the compensation are usually derisory. So we will encourage you, if you feel you would like to take another look at those compensation. We will hold your hands if you need us to, so that you're not going through the process on your own. 18 pages And we know that just picking up that document makes it so difficult for so many people once they begin to turn the pages. We will hold your hands through that process if you wish us to. So we'll support you to make a claim, guide you through the process with a safe pair of hands, direct you to the justice clinics, and also this is something that happened within the law school and the clinics. We've created a document, so you will have something to look at, even if you don't feel we're the right partnership for you and you want to go to a solicitor. So we will provide you with the information that you should have before approaching a solicitor, so that you are aware of your rights and their obligations to you. We want to help you to receive compensation which reflects accurately your loss and your suffering. Our services are free, they're confidential between you and the clinic, or you and the hand-holding support person that we will link you with. It is specialist legal advice. It is free advice, and we are encouraging our community to take up this offer. So if you want to talk to the Claudia Jones organisation, our telephone number, and this will be on the information we put out, but our telephone number is 0207 241 1646, or you can email us on windrush@claudiajones.org, and we'll do our very best to support you and link you into one of the clinics. Thank you, Gifty.
Thank you so much, Janet. That was very clear, very helpful, informative, and hopefully reassuring to any Windrush victim who needs to seek claims. They know where to contact you now, and the support that you've very helpfully outlined, and how you will signpost them to the clinics and get the necessary support. So thank you for very carefully setting out that support and the work that you do. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Our next speakers, I would like to invite Anna Steiner, who's a solicitor and a senior supervising solicitor at the Law Clinic and a senior lecturer at the University of Westminster. She's going to do a double act with one of her students, Terence Griffiths. And as I said in my opening, welcoming Terence, we're very appreciative that in spite of being a student, you're also giving time to the clinic. That just shows how important this issue is, and we look forward to hearing from both of you. Anna really has been a backbone for us in the Windrush Justice Clinic, coordinating everything and sticking the glue together. So Anna, thank you very much, and over to you and Terence.
Thank you, Gifty, and thank you to Claudia as well, and especially to Patrick for his very powerful introduction at the beginning, and thank you to all the attendees for attending this evening to hear about our clinic. So I'm going to talk briefly about how we came to set up the Windrush Justice Clinic. No, Gifty has already alluded to some of it. Also, I'll talk about the role of university law clinics and what we aim to achieve with the Windrush Justice Clinic. So really, we came about by an organic process almost, and as Gifty has described it to me in conversations, almost divine intervention. A few friends and colleagues had been discussing the Windrush scandal over a period of years since it's come about. And recently, over the summer, we were following in the news the compensation scheme and how it really wasn't working very well, and came up with the idea between us that it would be a really good model for university law clinics to become involved in assisting claimants with compensation schemes. And just about the same time, Faizan Ahmed from the Jigsaw House Society got in touch with the University of Westminster Law School to ask if we would be interested in setting up a Windrush Justice Clinic. And through conversations with Faizan, he put me in touch with Gifty, who put us in touch with Janet, and through other community connections, we came together, and we were already working with the North Kensington Law Centre within our University of Westminster Legal Advice Clinic. They run the immigration clinic with us. We came together and set up the clinic. So all of the people involved are very, very committed to providing free, high quality and independent legal advice to all the people who have been affected by this scandal. And we hope that we will be able to assist as many people as possible in achieving some level of justice. Many of us have a background in social justice, both myself, Catherine Evans, who's director of the London South Bank University Legal Advice Clinic, and Sally Gill, who's the director of the University of Greenwich Legal Advice Clinic, have a law centre background and are committed to social justice. So our commitment, as I said, is to providing high quality, free and independent legal advice and assistance to our clients. And we're also very clear that we want our clinic to be firmly planted in the free legal advice and access to justice sector, which is why we've partnered with the law centres so that we are able to provide representation where people need it if they have more complex claims. And we've been very clear from the outset that this should be a free service firmly planted in the free legal advice sector. And this is a sector that has, as Patrick alluded to, sadly been quite badly affected by the severe cuts to legal aid over the last decade or so. But we are all very firmly committed to the principle that everyone should have access to high quality legal advice and assistance, whatever that means, and that this is a fundamental principle of a civilised and humane society. And we see the role of university law clinics as being complementary to the existing providers within the legal advice and access to justice sector. So within the clinics, we're able to provide free advice and assistance to people who would not otherwise be able to get that advice free of charge. But our role is not only to provide that much needed free advice and assistance, but also to educate the next generation of lawyers by providing them with an opportunity to experience working with clients under close supervision of qualified and experienced solicitors, barristers and caseworkers, as well as to experience and learn more about social justice, which we are all very committed to. And what we hope to achieve and aim to achieve, and I'm sure will achieve through the Windrush Justice Legal Advice Clinic, is that we will, by offering an independent free service that takes an objective view of the compensation scheme and the offers made under it, help as many people as possible to achieve some level of justice after the awful hardship and injustice they've been subjected to. And whilst we're currently based in London, we do plan to roll the clinic out nationally after an initial pilot period. And as Patrick has already said, you know, this is a service that is needed nationally. And once we've run for 4 months, we really do hope that university law clinics and law centres around the country will pick up the service and we can roll it out. And I'd just like to finish before I pass over to Terence with a couple of quotes from my colleagues in the other university legal advice clinics involved. So Sally Gill, who's director of the University of Greenwich Legal Advice Centre, says, "I've wanted to mobilise the University of Greenwich Legal Advice Centre to help Windrush victims since the news about the scandal started to emerge. It is so important that the young lawyers of the future engage in this important work to help shine a light on systematic racism and the failures of this government. I'm extremely proud to be part of the Windrush Justice Clinic and look forward to the centre helping clients from South East London with their claims. And from Catherine Evans, who is Director of London South Bank Legal Advice Clinic. The aim of the project is to facilitate victims of the Windrush scandal to obtain the compensation due to them. But ultimately, our view is that claiming compensation should be brought within the scope of an adequately funded legal aid system, as this is the most effective way to address the wide-scale injustices inflicted on people caused by a deeply flawed, unaccountable policy contemptuous of the rule of law. So I think it's a good note to end my piece on. So I'd now like to hand over to one of our students, Terence Griffiths, who has volunteered to work with the University of Westminster in our Windrush Justice Clinic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Terence, and I'm a third-year criminology student. The reason why I volunteered for the Windrush Justice Clinic is to strengthen my ability to advise clients face-to-face. Also, as part of my course, I wanted experience that was criminal or justice-related. Also, I believe that those that were affected by the Windrush scandal should be compensated, and I hope to achieve that for them. Lastly, I look forward to working with everyone, taking part in the project, and that's it.
Anna and Terence, thank you both so much. Once again, very clear, concise, very reassuring. And again, I hope, our Windrush victims can take some comfort in terms of your commitment. More information now about how the clinics will operate and how they've come together and the passion behind it from all three directors of the three different clinics. And Terence, again, as I said in the opening, for a student to want to give up time to support this tells you how important this work is. And we're very grateful for you for sharing your thoughts and your reasons. And I'm sure you will help many, many people who will be eternally grateful. So thank you both. One of the things I've said to myself all along is, after 38 years of working, I've been involved in all kinds of projects. And I keep saying, this is one of the best project teams I've ever worked with. And here again, you're proving how wonderful you are. I don't need to do any time management. Everybody's sticking to their time. So thank you, and you're all amazing. I now move on to our next guest speaker, and I'm delighted to invite Holly Stowe, who's a senior immigration caseworker at my very first job, North Kensington Law Centre, my very first job as a qualified barrister. So I always feel very passionate when I hear North Kensington Law Centre mentioned. Holly is an expert immigration caseworker there. Again, has been contributing tremendously to the project group, especially giving us an overview of how the compensation is actually working in real life, whether it's achieving what we expect in terms of righting the wrong. So it's been really helpful having both Annie Viswanathan and Holly from that law centre, and indeed Sally Corsa from Southwark. So on behalf of the law centres, Holly is going to say what their contribution is to the success that we look for. So Holly, you're welcome, and thank you. And I know you've also got Glenda. We're delighted to have Glenda, as I said, and Patrick also said Glenda has been formidable in attending many Windrush events. I've seen her on quite a number. I've attended a few. And she's been amazing in terms of sharing experience so that people can hear from those who have also gone through the system. And we're really eternally grateful, Glenda, that yet again, you've honored this invitation to be here. So thank you, Holly, and thank you, Glenda.
Thank you, Gifty. I hope my internet stays okay. I keep getting a notification saying it's unstable, so fingers crossed. I am really proud to be part of this Windrush Justice Clinic, and it is amazing having everyone on board and all together for the sole purpose of getting access to justice, helping other people. So it's fabulous. I graduated from South Bank University last year, started working at North Kensington, or volunteering at North Kensington Law Centre in my final year of uni. And that, as well as volunteering at my uni's legal advice clinic, really paved the way for me to come into this sort of work. I did my whole dissertation on legal aid. So my heart is really in this sort of access to justice, social justice law. I've been working on the Windrush compensation claims since July last year, and we represent and have advised a great number of people to make a claim, to get offers reviewed, or just one-off advice if they have a question about the claim form itself. As we know, and people have already mentioned, the claim form itself is 18 pages long, and it's not a simple tick box exercise. You really have to show your case and provide extensive amount of evidence. On top of that, you have a 45-page claim guidance, as well as a 46-page rules, which set out different tariffs of what each claim category is worth. And it's not as simple as the Home Office put out. It does help to have legal advice, particularly free legal advice, and just to have that representation on board. So you're not going through it alone. It's a Home Office scheme, going through a Home Office system. It's not going to be simple. And you know, talking to your caseworkers isn't what everybody wants to do. I understand from conversations that I've had, or people just asking in other webinars, a lot of people are worried that going to lawyers or going through the scheme is going to, you know, light up their name and they're going to get in some sort of trouble again. And we completely understand, you know, that worry. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to help you get through this, get that justice. I mean, no amount of money is going to compensate anybody for what they were put through. But if we can do something through this compensation scheme, then, you know, we just want to help. We've seen a lot of derisory offers come through at North Kensington Law Centre, going from £250 to 22,000. But I think having legal advice and legal representation by your side, we can go through this in a kind of methodical system and, you know, put our Home Office hats on and think, okay, what are they thinking? Okay, we need to get through everything and not just accept whatever the Home Office wants to give, because 9 times out of 10, particularly that first offer, is going to be very low. And the review system is one when you want to have kind of somebody with legal expertise with you to go through it. I think we've all said this in our speeches, we are here for access to justice. We're here to help, and especially we're here to help for free. Without generous funding and without donations from other people, we wouldn't be here. We'd be able to offer this for free. So I'm really, really privileged to be part of a team that is able to time with wonderful Glenda next. But if anyone has any questions at all, I'm sure our emails will be out there. And yeah, thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Glenda Caesar. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Gifty, for allowing me to be part of this. As a victim, as I call myself, or a survivor, as I call myself, I'm grateful that the Kensington Law Centre is backing me in relation to my claim for compensation, which is something that I had taken on by myself at first, but I soon realized that you need legal help, no matter how experienced you are. I'm very experienced in administration, so I just thought, yep, I can fill this in, I can get it out there, but it didn't work like that. The Home Office soon showed me, no, you do need the help. And by the grace of God, Holly came along, Kensington Law Centre came along, and they helped me. So this service that the Windrush Justice Clinic is putting out is a well-needed thing. because people cannot do this by themselves. They are trying. There are children out there trying to do it for their parents, but they do need the legal help. It is needed. We feel we can do it, but we cannot do it. And like I said, I know firsthand, being offered a small amount, which was ridiculously silly, and having to approach Holly. I don't know if I got angry at all, Holly, but I was like, I'm not having this. This is no way. Something needs to be done about this. And obviously everyone knows that I went public. I'm not frightened to go public on anything because I had been embarrassed for too long hiding. I had to come forward and say, look, enough is enough now. I didn't make a mistake, you made a mistake. And my message to anybody out there, come forward, do not be frightened. The Justice Clinic is here to help you, to advise you, to guide you. And they, I'm sure, unlike me, they won't put you public, but I don't mind going public. But anyone coming to me, which we have got a group now with a lot of claimants on it, and there are some of them who don't want to, who are frightened to approach anyone for their help because, like Holly had said, they feel as if they're going to be pulled up. I want them to know, no, it's nothing like that. If you feel that you've got to come through me in order for me to get you, put you in the right position for you to get the legal help, then I'm open. I'm available on all of the social media platforms. You can send me a message and I guarantee you I'll send you my number and I'll speak to you directly. So do not be afraid. We have to try and gain some kind of trust to the people out there. So to let them know, we are here to help you. That's what it's all about. We need you. You have to remember, you did not make a mistake. This mistake was made and you was pulled into it. So we just want to do the right thing. So I want everyone to know, I want to say thank you, and thank you, Gifty, as well. There are other organizations out there which are willing to help, but we need, it's the legal help that is needed. That's the most important part. The legal help is needed in order for us to get the compensation out there and for everyone to get what they rightly deserve. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly and Glenda. Again, a very powerful presentation and reassurance about the legal element, what's happening in the law centers and a real life experience from Glenda. And Glenda, thank you for the kind words you've spoken about the importance of the legal clinics in particular and getting the legal input to make sure you get the right level of compensation you deserve. And, you know, the reassuring words from you, Anna said, most of us here have either come from law center background, and those who haven't have come from community engagement background. So we all understand the need for confidentiality. We know that in our community, we don't like the fuss. We're embarrassed by publicity. We're embarrassed putting our life out there. Trust me, my mother tells me all the time, why are you telling everybody your business, Gifty? Why is it out there? You know, we just don't do it. So I'm so pleased that you've emphasized that it can be done confidentially. They don't need to be out there, but you are willing to be the public face for them in terms of support. So very grateful. And Holly, again, thank you for that detailed information. And one of the things that I as a part of the Windrush Justice Clinic, feel very excited about is this specialist accountant that you work with, Annie and Holly and Sally, where you're able to do a proper and thorough evaluation of, you know, the suffering and the value of that suffering and that loss, which is just so critical because you just got to get it right. People are only going to have one go at this, and if they don't get the right level, it's a problem. So I am very excited for the claimants for that there is quality support, and indeed, you know, survivors like Glenda and others to be able to share the experience and to give the encouragement. So at this stage, I want to say a huge thank you to all our excellent speakers. Again, I say, even for somebody like me who's been part of it, What an excellent and inspiring and very detailed and reassuring presentation across the board. And most importantly, how easy you've made my job, time management. I didn't have to intervene and stop anyone. So I hope our audience similarly have appreciated. This is the time we now go into our questions and answers. And I know that one or two did pop up early. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes or so, as per the program, to try and flesh out, you know, some further information through the Q&A. So have we got the Q&A popping up? 3 questions, right? Okay. So have you been able to get in the Q&A, panel members, or let me, I'll try and get into the Q&A. Okay, so I've got a question here which says, a large number of victims continue to suffer under the inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the compensation scheme. What are the common problems that applicants are finding in the completion, the processing, and the resolution of their claims? Is the scheme as designed not fit for purpose, or are its failures due to those that are administering it? Can I start perhaps with Holly, if I may, on the experience of the form, please, Holly? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So from my experience with helping clients, some of it is simply not knowing what to put on the form. I've had some people come in who've received an offer. They show me their original claim form, and there's nothing written on it because it simply didn't know what to put or how much they had to put. There is the Windrush helpline at the Home Office, but they're not necessarily helpful. So it is difficult to get that first kind of pen to paper, and we completely understand that. So there's that hurdle right from the jump. Even on top of the claim form, it says, we don't think you'll need legal help with this. Then it's navigating the system of the Home Office once it's submitted. There is no time frame from the Home Office once a claim has been submitted to when you can expect to receive an offer. And it's the constant, they'll contact you, as in the Home Office will contact you when they want information. We'll contact you when we want something from you. But for the meantime, just be quiet and wait for us. So it's getting through to them and kind of getting answers from them. It's also understanding how much evidence and what evidence. And this can be evidence going back 20 years, or it can be evidence from, last week. And these, sometimes it is not simple evidence. It's having to do subject access requests to HMRC, to DWP. So really it's knowing what to put down, what to gather, and preparing yourself to go through this kind of bureaucratic system that is the Home Office. And I think the question mentioned something about the caseworkers handling it. I mean, they're there to right the wrongs, but it's simply not the case. I mean, the good thing about, coming to a group such as this and lawyers offering free advice is that we actually care. We care about what's on your application form. We care about what you get offered and what you accept and don't accept. Whereas for them, it's kind of a simple task of, oh, we denied you entry to the UK, here's £200. But no. So yeah, there's a lot of difficulties and a lot of hurdles to get through. And, some people, like Glenda said, she's very happy to do this sort of thing and support other people, and she's very happy to be public, but we understand there's people who aren't like Glenda. So, if you can access this sort of free advice and have sort of a handhold or just support, then I would definitely advise seeking that ahead of putting in a claim, or once your claim's in, just reach out to people.
Thank you very much, Holly. I've been an advocate for it should have been independently administered, and I will continue to say that. It should have been a completely different body administering the compensation, but hey. Okay, the next question, it says, thank you for this wonderful initiative. will the clinic also assist Windrush scheme applicants seeking to regularize their status? Anna, can I invite you please to talk about that, please? Would the clinics deal with Windrush scheme applicants wanting to regularize their status?
Yeah, we've been very concerned that we are able to assist people with every aspect of their case, and should they need specialist assistance with regularising their status, then we have partners within the collaboration who will be able to assist them with that, so primarily the law centres. So that is something that we've had in our mind from the outset, that there will be people who may need assistance with that aspect of their case, and we will be able to provide that assistance.
Okay. And then the next question is about whether there are future steps for Windrush Clinic National. Perhaps I can just quickly answer that at this stage, what we've committed to is that we will see how the first few months pilot goes. And we're hoping that it will be rolled out nationally across other organizations, universities in particular. So there will be a shared learning and encouragement. I don't know if, Anna, you want to say anything more than that, otherwise I'll go on to the next question.
Yeah, just to say that whilst we are all based in London, we don't have any restriction if people wanted, from outside London, wanted to get advice at this stage before the clinic is rolled out nationally. They are free to contact us, and please do so. There is no restriction on who we can give advice and assistance to in terms of where they are in the country. But as I said at the beginning, we do really hope that other law clinics will take on the model, and it can be rolled out nationally as well.
Thank you very much. There is an offer of
outside London for now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There is an offer of support here, and the question is, would the best support be funding and highlighting the project to clients, or the legal side, volunteering as advisor? I know I've been referring most offers of volunteering to you, Anna, so do you want to say a little bit on the volunteering side and what you may need?
I've also seen that Fazan has been answering in the chat box that we are currently fundraising, and of course we will be very grateful for any donations of funding that people would like to make. We are at the moment particularly fundraising for a central website, a central phone line for outreach workers to work with Janet and Claudia Jones' organisation, as well as for additional staff to supervise the students and work on the more complex cases. In terms of any assistance to volunteers, lawyers who'd like to volunteer with the project, then please do contact us and we can take that forward and discuss with you how that could possibly work. But we are currently fundraising, and I think Fazan has put the link for our crowdfunder in the chat box. But additionally, if any firms are interested in donating to the clinic, then please do contact myself or Gifty or one of the other organisers in the project.
Thank you very much, Anna. The next question is, if you have reached tier 1 on your own, as I have, because I couldn't get legal help, the tier application is in process. Is it too late to get legal help if still unhappy with your review? So Holly, your thoughts on that? Somebody's partway through, can they get help?
No, you can get help. Probably half of my clients have come after receiving an offer and not been happy with that offer. The legal help is available to you at any stage, whether it's beforehand, whilst your claim's being processed, whilst you've received the tier 1 offer, tier 2 offer. If you're not happy with anything and you want legal help, please do ask us.
Thank you.
I think that question was from Christian. If it's the same Christian as I believe it is, I did receive your telephone number, but it was the wrong telephone number, and I was calling a lady and she was very annoyed that I called her 3 times in one day. So if you want to re-give me your number to my email address, please.
Okay, thank you. We've still got quite a few volunteer questions, so we'll look out for that. What have I got here? Thank you all. Great to be able to join the online launch. Janet and Gifty, we have a Hackney connection and would welcome the opportunity to catch up on what you've been doing. Okay, so we appreciate that reaching out for support. What is the next one? Let's see. Given that a number of applicants are unfairly stuck abroad, are you also going to help applicants outside the UK? Very interesting one. Anna, do you want to start? And maybe Holly can also contribute on this one. People who are abroad can't get in.
So, yes, by all means, if people are abroad and stuck in this difficult situation, by all means contact us. If somebody is stuck abroad, it's most likely that they will need specialist assistance with their nationality case proving their British citizenship, but we will be able to put people in touch with those within the collaboration who can assist them with that. So yes is the answer to that.
Okay. Thank you. There is a long one here. I'm part of the MFJ and organizing the Widen Windrush campaign, which is taking forward challenges to the Windrush Task Force. As the injustice includes the rejection of the descendants of the Windrush era generation, we don't believe that it's acceptable to watch one's children or grandchildren being discriminated because they didn't follow the Windrush era relatives quickly enough. Although there are cases going forward, no question of descendants inclusion, there are likely to be many more people who would have been turned away for advice. So will the clinic ensure people know that there is a fight for those who can't get their status secured? I think in a sense, we've said that there will be support for those who are trying to regularize their status. I'm grateful for this question because one of the things that we've said we will continue to reiterate and emphasize is that the next generation after the Windrush, you know, their children, grandchildren who may well have been adversely affected, and we have seen this, passports being withdrawn or difficulty accessing services, they're all part of it and they can come forward. Holly, I know you've dealt with some descendants. Do you want to say a little bit about what it looks like to deal with the Windrush generation, maybe their children?
Yeah, so I've got a few clients or even people I've chatted to who are making a claim as a close family member. So it's their father or their mother that were first kind of caught up in the Windrush scandal, but it impacted their lives. So that's, I think, perhaps what the Home Office didn't realise, it affected a lot more people than what they thought. And this could be just a claim for impact on life, or it could be a claim for, you know, all the other categories. But anyway, impact is an impact, and it's an impact that shouldn't have happened. So yeah, there definitely is that fight still going on. And if people are coming as a close family member, to definitely look into making a claim as well.
Can I just come in on that, Gifty? Because it's something that happened. It happened to my son, actually, who was born here, and they had told him that he wasn't a British citizen because obviously I was his mother and I was put in place in this situation. So there, and he's in his early 30s. He's my youngest child. So there is a lot of what I have to call children, because they are children to me, out there who are a bit frightened to come forward. Maybe they've got themselves in some sort of like problem, and they feel if they come forward to try and regulate their status or for them to get their passport, they're going to get caught up in another. So there is a lot of them. I don't know how we have to try and reach out to them to get them to know, listen, you're not going to get in any trouble. Come forward. Let's try and help you to get your passport. And I'm hoping the Windrush Justice Clinic will reach out to these children, because there is plenty of them out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Glenda. Absolutely. That's been part of the concern. And a lot of people who have certain problems and don't even realize it's actually Windrush related. That's why they're having it, you know, getting documentation. So I absolutely agree with you. And the work that we will do through Claudia Jones will parcel of, you know, enlightening people, encouraging and explaining that we are dealing with all the different generations affected. So that's very important. I'm going to take one final question. Well, slightly over our time that we promised our audience, and then we'll come to a close. The last question is, will the clinic focus exclusively on working through individual claimants' cases, or will you link to wider efforts to correct structural failings with the scheme or the way the Home Office is administering it? I know we've had a little bit of discussion around the learning points through the law centers in particular that could well inform future actions of a different kind. Maybe Holly, do you want to start off on that? And maybe Anna might want to add anything else as well about what we're capturing by way of learning experience.
Apologies, my internet went funny. Are we looking at question from anonymous attendee?
Yes, a much wider, yes, action, you know, in terms of the lessons that we will learn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is something that me and Annie have spoke about a lot, looking at taking kind of wider action on this scheme in particular, but the whole implementation of the scheme, as well as, you know, the derisory offers that are coming from the scheme. It's, you know, it's kind of, it's righting the wrongs, but it's not helping at all. And this is a scheme that was meant to help. So yes, there are talks and there are plans.
Okay.
We need to make sure that we're going down the right path first and getting the right people involved before we take any big action.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Did you want to add anything, Anna, or you're fine with that?
I'll just add to say that, yes, we are concerned and very keen to collaborate with as many other organisations working in this area, because together we are stronger, and also to affect change if we can. So yes, we won't just be concentrating on the individual cases. We are looking to achieve a change in the whole system if that is possible. But it's early days, and as I said, we're keen to collaborate with as many organisations as possible working in this area. And I am having meetings, as are others in the corporation, quite regularly now with other campaign groups, other advisors, other advice clinics, and we're really keen to collaborate. So I'm sure we will be speaking to you more about those possible joint working opportunities.
Okay, thank you. And Janet, if I may come to you, please, just to finish us off this panel session on the community outreach. If you've got any final words around encouraging people to come forward and not feel, you know, hesitant, concerned, and also the next generation of the Windrush, as Glenda said, the children, because you work with families. I wanted to give you that last say on that, because obviously it's the community we want to reach. So this is your platform now to send the last message out to them.
Just to say that we've given out the email address, which goes live at midnight. And just touching on what Glenda said, we know that there's a barrier there. And that's why our outreach team, we will be trained. They won't have the knowledge of the law students, but they will be trained in terms of the community outreach to build the confidence and the trust so that we can support young people like your son or the next generation. So we're going out there, and we would like some young volunteers as well, because there might be, in terms of age, you know, where the 60 plus talking to a 20-year-old, it might not work the same. So we are creating teams of volunteers that will be trained to go out into the community. And of course, they access information differently. they're not so keen on the face-to-face. So they can access the support or talk to us via Zoom, via WhatsApp group. We'll be using social media to reach out to as many young people as possible. But what we want to also be able to do is have small awareness sessions. And COVID is dictating some of this, because we know at the moment it's only 6. So perhaps 2 outreach leads with 4 people. And our current volunteers are happy to go to other community spaces where the community feels most comfortable. So don't be afraid, we're here to support you. It's a confidential support service, and we do this in our everyday work at Claudia Jones, because we work with a lot of gender-based violence, both for male and female. We work with children and families. We're good at keeping that confidentiality to help you to feel safe.
Thank you very much, Janet.
We'll direct you into the clinics, because that's where you'll get the technical support to complete your application.
Janet, thank you. I appreciate that. So can I, on behalf of our audience, thank all our excellent speakers for the excellent contribution and the valuable information, and indeed our great audience. Again, I say thank you for turning out in such large numbers, and what fabulous comments of encouragement you're sending us. And I really will tell you, we will not let you down. My family and friends know I have been obsessed with Windrush since I started reading the articles from Amelia Gentleman. I am Windrush generation, so all those who are affected could have been my school friends, people I've worked with, people I was touched. And I make no apology or bones about it. It has been my obsession. And that's how I got involved with Patrick, and then the next phase of trying to support on the compensation. So thank you everyone for being here, for being involved. Now the important work begins to get justice for compensation claimants and their families. And all those affected who have come from the Commonwealth countries, you know, we emphasize it's people who have come from Africa, the Caribbean, Southern Asia, who have been affected because they came here within the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, have been adversely affected in various ways and need to seek compensation. We're here to help you. And the details will be available online. And if you can't access it easily, just Google University of Westminster Law Clinic, University of Greenwich Law Clinic, London South Bank University Law Clinic. You will immediately find the people who are sitting there waiting, ready to help. And during COVID, support will be online, but it will be proactive support. But hopefully, she says by next year, hopefully things will get better, who knows? We might meet again face-to-face and support. But thank you for being here, and thank you for our panel. And we will all keep in touch. Thank you. Bye, everyone.